Oh, Scal, how we doing this week?
I'm doing well. Let me ask you guys a quick question. What do you
Go.
think about the Holiday contract, real quick?
Oh, well, that's what we were going to ask you, but we're all a fan of it. I don't see what's not to like.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit worried, a little bit, that maybe they're choosing Holiday over Derrick White if I wanted to nitpick. But by and large, I love spending money and being all in. It's refreshing in this town compared to how the Patriots and Red Sox are running things specifically. So I like it. We all like it.
yeah, I'm with you, and I don't think it has anything to do with Derek White. I think what people don't talk about, like it's always nationally, they say, "Oh man, Jrue Holiday's a great fit for Tatum and Brown." I think Holiday's a great fit for Derek White, and I think Derek White because he guards like mostly of the quicker guys. Holiday's always going to be able to guard up, so he can guard twos, threes, and fours. Sometimes, I mean, geez, we put him on Embiid. The challenge that we have, which with Peyton Pritchard locked up at his number, Derek White not locked up, but seems like he'll get locked up. We now have an ability to guard those quick point guards, the SGAs of the world and stuff like that.
So, Scal, you sound confident that they're going to figure something out with Derrick White. Do you think that that's going to be a team-friendly extension? Is there a high likelihood that that happens this summer, or is it something that we're going to have to continue to wait out a little bit and see where both sides are at?
I don't know. You know what? I think it'd be great if they did do something like that, and I think Derek White is so deserving. I mean, he's so good, and he provides so many things that this team needs. So I wouldn't necessarily be concerned with that. I think a lot of people are wondering, man, how are they going to spend all that money? And what I think a lot of people might be ignoring is if there's an expansion team, and let's say it comes in, they're clearly going to wait until after the new TV deal. Well, those new teams with this new fat TV deal could be worth, I don't know, $6 billion. So $12 billion gets divvied up in between 30 teams. That's a big check that you're going to make, maybe more than the Celtics were even purchased for a while back. And you could take some of that money and it, relieves your tax bill, pretty nicely. So I do think with Adam Silver talking one time in Vegas and Seattle, and there have been no talk about that, I think people are maybe a little bit ignoring the fact that the Celtics are going to, and every team in the NBA is going to get a giant fat check when the expansion teams come in. I think that would solve a lot of the issues of where the money is going to come from.
So if John Henry buys an expansion team in Vegas, he's actually helping a local team for once. That's interesting.
Yeah, it sure seems that way. Speaking of ownership, Scal, Wick Grossbeck obviously running circles around some of the owners in town right now. How's the relationship with him and Brad Stevens, for what you know about it anyway? Because it seems like Brad's getting what he wants here. I mean, in terms of the money and things like that, he's obviously made some great trades, but it does seem like they're, in step here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the step is we can win. And when, I think for any ownership group, it's the same thing. When you get a chance to win, you realize that you have to go all in. And is there a little bit of, okay, your neck is on the line here. If you tell me we're going to be a winning team, we can't be a first round exit. So I think there's obviously a little bit of pressure like that. But I think across the board, everyone recognizes the Celtics as a championship level team. And the Jrue Holiday move, and I tell people this all the time, like anybody could have decided that. You guys, me, my son was like, yeah, of course, Jrue Holiday. Without knowing anything about the salary cap, everyone could decide that Jrue Holiday, if we could trade Brogdon, Williams, a couple picks, we should do that. The question would just be for the ownership when you make that phone call, listen, are you willing to pay that tax bill? And if they say yes, and yeah, like why wouldn't they be in lockstep? I mean, we have a team that's built for the next couple of years. There's the Al Horford situation could be a problem. I don't know if he'll be back next year. He is under contract, but that could be a thing that we're kind of looking for. If Al Horford were to, decide after he wins the championship, I don't want to play, or if he just kind of slows down throughout the years. I mean, guys who get older, they eventually do slow down. He hasn't slowed down this year. He's been awesome this year, but I think that those guys are in lock and step. If there's a chance to win it all, you go all in, and the Celtic ownership group, as well as, the team, and everybody is all in right now.
Talking to Brian Scalabrine, NBC Sports Boston. He joins us every week here on Jones and Mego with Arcan on WEEI. I'm curious about the game the other night, Scal. I know you've never seen it before because it's never happened before. 2 free throws in the game and none for the Celtics? What was that?
When you're so I think there's a little bit of combination. So both teams move the ball pretty well. They kick out. So it's like free throw shooting a lot of times is like guys that don't necessarily have an angle to the basket and they just force the issue. I think the Celtics, in a way, where, let's say I don't want to get hurt, the easiest way to not get hurt when you drive is to, A, pull up, go into a fadeaway, or B, just move it, right? So we're a big ball movement team. They're a big ball movement team. When Giannis is coming full head of steam, I thought we kind of got out of the way a couple times. I am surprised, Tillman and, Cornette, didn't take a couple hard fouls on Giannis, but it did, what do they call it in soccer? A friendly? It kind of, the other night was like a friendly from our standpoint.
It was like a friendly. That is true.
Yeah, I don't think nothing to that, because I don't want to, first of all, I don't want to get Giannis pissed off. I don't even know if, what happened to him, but you don't want to get Giannis pissed off or any of those guys pissed off. And, they can win the game, and it doesn't really matter to us right now. And another thing, from a coaching standpoint or a strategy standpoint, you don't want to show your hand to that coaching staff and let them figure it out and let, Giannis and Damian Lillard say, okay, this is how we're going to attack them. You want them to figure it out on the fly. So add up all those things and you kind of get that weird game. But I don't think that will ever happen in the NBA again. I mean, the previous record was 13 and that was 2, but for all those people that like to go to bed early, that was really nice. The game was less than 2 hours, I think.
Right. Jaylen Brown was really cold in the first half of that game, and he's described something he's dealing with in his left hand. I think he said it was a sprain or something. Is that something that you're keeping an eye on at all, or do you think it's something that'll be a non-factor by the time the playoffs start?
One thing I know about NBA players, kind of superhuman when it comes to recovery, right? I mean, typically. So let's say Jaylen Brown doesn't play from here on out. You're talking not quite 2 weeks, but almost 12 days. And this is remember, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum were all-stars. So they really didn't get the all-star break. This is a nice, they're not going to go away to Turks and Caicos or anything like that. But it is a nice little break for them to kind of gear themselves up and get ready for the playoffs. So I'm assuming that it's not that big of a deal. It's a big deal because he's going to miss some games down the stretch. But I would assume that whoever plays tonight won't play tomorrow. Whoever doesn't play tonight will play tomorrow. And then, I don't think anybody's going to play except for Peyton Pritchard, who loves to play and plays every game. So I don't think that's going to be a big issue moving forward. And he has plenty of time to recover between now and the first game in the playoffs.
Scal, let's put your coaching hat on, okay? Let's hypothetically here. First round matchup, you're coaching a team that draws the Celtics. How do you attack them? What do you do? What do you tell your team?
Yeah, I mean, ideally I have a shot blocking big, and I keep the Celtics out of the middle of the floor. I really, really press up and try to speed them up, and ideally I take away the three-point shot at the rim, and I just trust my shot blocking big. So, the one team that really stands out to me that can do that, Philly, if Embiid is right, Embiid's amazing as rim defensively, and the Knicks, because they have Mitchell Robinson and they got Isaiah Hartenstein. So I don't put the Milwaukee Bucks in that category because I don't know if they're physical enough on the perimeter. You have to be, the guy that would be physical enough would be like a Patrick Beverley, like a pesky defender to try to speed up our guys. But if we're cool, calm, collective, we're going to be fine. And if we get pressured and sped up and forced to make shots with bigs at the rim, then we could, I guess you could say historically we could struggle with that. But this year's been a lot different. But if I had a roster built like that, that's exactly how I would play the C's.
All right, he is Brian Scalabrine, NBC Sports Boston. He joins us every week here on WEEI. A reminder, by the way, that Big 3 basketball is returning to the TD Garden on August 18th. The finals are being played here in Boston, and tickets go on sale tomorrow. Scal, we asked you before about Caitlin Clark. Any word on if she's going to be playing in this thing?
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen, but you guys know I work the Big 3. I work the sideline. I do all the interviews. It's I'm there. I love the Big 3 because
you put it on the map, basically, Scal.
Yeah, that's what you think. I heard Joe put it on the map, but yeah. So I just think all my friends, all my NBA friends go, all my buddies who I meet and go to games and all that stuff, and they love the environment. It's an awesome environment. So if you guys if it lines up for your schedule and you could be there August 18th, or even all the Big 3 games, they're super fun to watch. Go up to players, get autographs, take pictures. It's a really good time. So I hope, and it's super competitive, especially when you get to the finals. The games are awesome. So hopefully I'll be there, everybody. And you know me, I'm like Mr. Selfie when it comes to being in the TD Garden. So hopefully all you guys could come out and support.
That's true. You're
and,
Mr. Selfie?
Yeah, I take a lot. I take a lot. I feel bad saying no. Like, I just feel bad. But you know one thing about Boston? Like, if I look up at the clock and I go, hey, guys, I can only sit here till 6:38, everyone's pretty cool with the whole thing. But I'll end up taking a lot of selfies, a lot of autographs, stuff like that. But, man, come on, there's a lot of kids in there. They only get one Celtic game a year, you know. And I like to meet people. I like to talk to people. So it's good. The Big Three is a lot more casual, and I take a lot of selfies there too. But it's you know, that's just that's how I game my fans, one at a time with each selfie.
When are you taking a selfie with us, with the show?
Yes, Scal.
Yes,
Well,
Scal.
are you guys ever going to do a show at the Garden? You guys come down for a little live show, maybe a playoffs final?
I think
if we're
in the
over by
playoffs.
banners, are you going to come over and say hi?
Yeah, I think we're going to be around the Garden a lot in the playoffs. Yes.
Yeah, just hit me, let me know, and if I can organize that to swing by, and we could do the hit live. That'd be great.
Excellent. Mark Tate, Brian, excellent. All right, Scal, we appreciate the time. We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good.